आपका नाम क्या है? क्रिश और निखिल। देखो ऐसा है, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस, ऑल्दो दिस इज द सब्जेक्ट कॉल्ड एज इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस, ठीक है, a very important role that is played by this particular portion in your paper 2, all right, not just in paper 2, but what happens is मैं कुछ पहले थोड़ी broader understanding देता हूँ, ठीक है, about this subject. Okay, this subject is strategically also very important. Okay, just like the national security of this country is very important for India, the same way international relations stands to be very strategic subject. Why I'm saying this? Because see, what happens is there is general tendency, like when you will appear for interview also, there is very general tendency. For example, abhi ka time, this time, at this time, whosoever will be appearing in the interview, let's say in any interview, it is very obvious that whatever events that are happening at the global level which impact the security of our country also, तो उन events से question definitely आने वाले हैं, ठीक है. Also, so many topics that comes in your geography portion. Okay, for example, the mapping thing, ठीक है, that is also linked somewhere with the international relations. For example, why I'm saying this, अभी जो अटैक हुआ है, ठीक है, ईरान इजराइल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जो चल रहा है अभी, ठीक है, उसमें इट इज वेरी प्रोबेबल कि इस साल जो है क्वेश्चन एक ना एक डेफिनेटली उन पर्टिकुलर इंपॉर्टेंट प्लेसेस से आने वाला है, ठीक है. तो जैसे रशिया यूक्रेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, ठीक है, यूपीएससी के लिए द करंट अफेयर इज नॉट जस्ट द करंट अफेयर ऑफ लाइक 6 months 1 year, नो, इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. यूपीएससी के लिए जो इवेंट्स वॉट एवर इज बींग रिपीटेड, ठीक है, एंड डेली अपियरिंग इन द न्यूज पेपर, ओके, एंड आर बेसिकली लिंक्ड विद ऑल द सब्जेक्ट्स, ठीक है, लिंक्ड विद आईआर, लिंक्ड विद ज्योग्राफी, स्टैटिक, करंट, those questions are UPSC asked by UPSC. All right. Now we will be starting with not with international relations, because international relation is the relation at the world level between different states. Okay. Now what is a state? Harshika Verma is there. So now what is a state? So there happened a Montevideo Declaration, and this concept of state is very new to this world. Okay, this is very new. How this concept of state emerged? It basically emerged after the world wars only. All right, before the world wars, before the world war, what used to happen is, उससे पहले, for example, there is a empire. All right, there is a, let's say, Roman Empire, and what the Roman Empire, जिस area में Roman Empire has already established its influence, that became a particular area of governance for that empire. All right, this was a system before the world war. Okay, so this system of state is very recent in origin. All right, so we saw various events in the history, okay, like the unification of Germany, unification of Italy, okay, Bolshevik revolution. All right, so after those events, majorly the concept of the state that established, that got strengthened up. All right, now in international relation, we do understand basically about the relationship of India with major powers, with our immediate neighborhood, with our extended neighborhood. See, around India there are few concentric circles, okay, like our immediate neighbor, for example, Afghanistan, Myanmar, Bhutan, okay, so Pakistan, so नीचे भी जो है आपका Maldives even, ठीक है, so these are our immediate neighbors. Now just move beyond that, ठीक है, there is another second concentric circle. This second concentric circle was not during the time of Britishers, this wasn't there. Okay, during the time of Britishers, we will be seeing the evolution of the foreign policy of India. Okay, so in that we will be just looking at, is your health okay? थोड़ी आंख आपकी रेड लग रही है, कॉन्टेक्ट लेंस की वजह से. ओके ओके, डोंट यूज कॉन्टेक्ट लेंस, जस्ट यूज दीज थिंग्स, है ना. ओके, तो कॉन्टेक्ट लेंस अभी रेड है. कुछ पानी, वॉशरूम जाना है कुछ क्लीन करने के लिए? नहीं. आर यू ओके? Okay, so now this second concentric circle is basically the extended neighbor of India. Okay, from now onwards you will be having a very good information about international relation. So from today onwards you will be talking, seeing, like viewing the entire world from this perspective only. All right, so this is the very first class. Okay, so we will just be talking, okay, we will be just talking about IER and IFP, that is Indian foreign policy. Okay, So the second concentric circle that is around India is basically taking into consideration our extended neighbor. All right, like ASEAN countries, okay, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, okay, Laos, PDR. So those are extended neighbor. In the Southeast Asia, in the west we will be seeing like Iran, Iraq, okay. So those countries which are at war at present, okay, those are our extended neighbor, okay. So first level we will be looking at the immediate neighbor relations, second will be at the extended neighbor relation, and third will be the major powers. All right, so major power, because Japan is also major power, but that comes basically in our extended neighbor only, okay, that's an Asian country. All right, so EU, relation of India with EU. All right, relation of India with आपका Britain, for example, France, for example, आपका US. Okay, now what I have seen is UPSC has shifted its focus. Okay, it has already shifted its focus. Now what is happening is UPSC is not asking direct state-wise questions. Earlier, what used to happen was India, Israel. Okay, this was the general question that were being asked if you will just pick up the papers of UPSC of like a year before 2020. Okay, in those papers you will be able to see the questions like, for example, India, Israel. Okay, but now it has shifted its focus. Okay, now the shifted is more general. It is not exactly asking about direct India, Israel, but now it is asking in general about India and West Asia. All right, so now the focus has shifted, so our study will also shift in this direction only. All right, rather than purely focusing upon the issue between India and Sri Lanka, we will be shifting our focus to majorly understand the power relations, okay, at the world level. All right, now next is how we are going to start is, now I will be starting with IFP, that is Indian foreign policy. All right, now first we will be discussing about the meaning of foreign policy, then the determinants of the foreign policy, then we will be looking at the evolution of foreign policy. See what happens is, at the international level, what is the foremost thing? But there was a scholar called as Palmerston. Okay, Palmerston has given his dictum, and according to Palmerston's dictum, what is right or wrong depends on the national interest. See, my morals can be very different. Your morals can be very different. You might have some other value system in your mind. I might have some very different value system. But what the value system, what will be the value system of this country? What will be the value system of India? The value system of India will be whatever suits our national interest. All right. Now we will never take into consideration what is right or wrong. We will never take into consideration what should be, what should not be. No, everything is right according to the realist perspective. Now my intention was to bring you to different approaches. All right, so these are some sort of approaches. Our Indian foreign policy has evolved. It has covered a very long way. All right, it is evolving from basically, I would say, the Britishers time. Okay, even before that also we have seen so many big states. Yeah, there was no idea of India as such, but yes, there were many big states. For example, the Mughal Empire, for example, the rule under Aurangzeb. Okay, at that time also we were very large. Okay, so at that time also we were at war with the other states. All right, yes, there was no idea of India, but our morals. See, have you studied history? In history, you will be seeing one idea of Ashoka. Ashoka basically gave the idea of Dhamma. Buddhism gave the idea of similar policy. All right, so those are also integral to India's foreign policy. So what I am trying to convey to you is there are various approaches to look at the foreign policy of a country, but our foreign policy is never shaped in a watertight compartment. It is not decided in a basically room. Okay, it is never decided by few leaders. It is a continuous process. All right. So by the policy of buffer state during the time of Britishers, during the time of Nehru, the policy was moreover, according to some it was idealist, according to some it was realist. My perspective to be a guide for you is to basically highlight all the ideologies. I will be bringing up for you every ideology, every thinking. Now it's upon you to basically incline towards any one perspective. What I have seen and I have heard majority by majorly by all the teachers, okay, by most of the teachers, is that uh, during my time of study also, in my college, in UPSC preparation, what I have seen is everyone just state one thing, that be balanced in your conclusion. See, by my experience and by reading the answers of all the major person who have already cleared the examination, I can 100% tell you there is no need to be balanced. Okay, you must adopt one approach, you must be inclined toward, but that should be in that every part must be highlighted. Okay, it is not like in the conclusion you cannot say this thing is right or not. See, if you are basically not inclining towards any of the point of view, then the examiner will be having this perspective that this particular person doesn't have a stand. You must take a stand, but that stand in your answer must include every area. Getting the point? So conclusion is conclusion, it's not a balanced view, it's never a balance. We must do this, but we must also have done this. Array, this is not the right answer. All right, now my way of teaching is this only, that I will make you understand how to write also. After every topic, on every Saturday there will be test also. Okay, in that test you will have to write the answers. Okay, now coming on to another point, foreign policy is basically, I told you, never made in just by one leader. Okay, it is basically a process, it is a gradual process. Okay, it basically develops over hundreds of years. Okay, still we are basically adopting the ideas that were given by Ashoka in our foreign policy. Okay, who was the first diplomat in the world? Hanuman. In Arthashastra, centuries old literature also talks about how to deal with the other states. Okay, how to deal with foreigners. Okay, so Mitrani, Ari Mitrani, so those elements are there written in Arthashastra, also given by Kautilya. Are you getting the point? So in our time we have included everything, every ideology. Okay, so Sun Tzu's On War book also, Arthashastra, all right, written by Kautilya, and basically many other, Leviathan written by Machiavelli. So many books are basically part of our study. All right, so a part of our foreign policy. Okay, now coming on to how to prepare for it. Okay, so how to prepare for IR? See, there is one very big myth in the minds of students of international relations. The big myth is that it is very dynamic. Have you heard this thing, that it is very dynamic? Okay, tell me one thing, has there been any change between the relation between India and Pakistan since the time of creation of Pakistan? Has there been any change? Has there been any single change between in basically India's approach in dealing with China since the time of Chinese Revolution of 1949? Has there been any change? Are we ever at any point of time were at peace with China? Never. We conducted the second nuclear test, and the reason, that was official reason, that was given by India of conducting that nuclear test was not Pakistan, it was China. That was basically the official statement. So this foreign policy, international relation is not changing daily. It's not at all changing. What we are doing using the newspaper is basically collecting several opinions. We are just collecting the opinion of C. Rajamohan. We are understanding what Harsh V. Pant is basically stating in the Indian Express. Right? We are, no relation is changing. During the Cold War and post the Cold War, India and US relation always is static, and that's basically strategic. What suits to US, they do that. What suits to India, we do that. Getting the point? So my point here is, never be afraid of it. Your static notes will be relevant for the time to come. It will never outdate. Whatever I will dictate you in the class, it will never outdate. Because the pattern of writing the relations will be like first introduction, then a historical context, then socio-political and economic context of the relation, then any latest development, just write that point and conclude it. Okay, now this must be your approach. All right, read the newspaper, some books are there, but rather than referring to any book, I would suggest you will get a very fair idea of all the basics in these classes. What you have to do is basically go to the website of MEA. Okay, so Ministry of External Affairs. On that website, you will get several distinguished lectures. You can watch the debates that happens on RSTV, Rajya Sabha TV. Okay, I think Big Picture name is there. Okay, you can watch some episodes. Okay, if for example you want to get a fair enough idea of what is going on at the world level at this particular point of time, then you can watch the episodes of Palki Sharma Upadhyay. You can watch CNN India. Okay, those channels are basically not dog fighting is not happening in those channels, and basically peacefully giving you the context of what is really happening at the world level. All right. So these are the things that I wanted to highlight. Now, any question like how to carry forward with this, like what way ahead is going to be there, or any problem, any confusion, anything you would like to tell? Hanji, Harshika, anything you would like to mention? Just unmute yourself, participate in class discussion. Okay, बस सुनना नहीं है, participate भी करना है. All right. Now let's move. Okay. So yeah. Now moving ahead. First of all, let us understand this demand of this IR. Okay. So the demand is, firstly, we will be understanding India's foreign policy, evolution of India's approaches, then we will be moving on to the various international aspects. All right. So the first thing is that India, I just told you, it's a evolutionary process. All right. It has never changed at a one go. Prime Minister Modi, after coming to power in 2014, has not changed the policy entirely. Yes, some elements have been added, but to the previous already existing elements. All right. So from being non-aligned, we have now moved to multi-aligned. All right, because of the changing history. See, history and politics is both interrelated with each other. All right. So this policy of non-aligned, okay, non-alignment we will be studying. Then we will be moving on to the policy of multi-alignment. All right. We will be looking at India's look east policy, then act east policy. Okay. What change came was changing the name and the major features of look east policy to act east policy, but it wasn't very different. Okay, both are moreover similar only. All right. So we also have to basically look at various doctrines. Okay, what India adopts in dealing with the world. All right. For example, the Gujarat doctrine. Okay, so this is the Gujarat doctrine that we will give but will never expect any reciprocation for that. Okay, we will be looking in deep with this particular approach. Now our nuclear policy, in nuclear policy we will be understanding minimum credible deterrence. Okay, what is basically, what is MAD, mutually assured destruction, what is no first use policy. All right, we have to understand this nuclear policy also. So then strategic initiative, these initiative are not current affair, these initiatives have already been taken since decades. All right. For example, the neighborhood first policy, we will be prioritizing our neighborhood, because no one can basically tolerate, we can tolerate the basically stray dogs in the on the roads only. We will never be tolerating the bark of a stray dog in our court, in our backyard. Okay, everyone has a problem with the dogs barking at night on their backyard. Okay, but they don't have any problem when they are barking at streets. All right. So we never tolerate anything that goes wrong against us in our backyard. That was just an example, because see now how current affair is very much like relevant for us, because the judgment also came Supreme Court, this issue is being highlighted है ना. So that's why this thing came. तो अब देखो ऐसा है, act east policy I just told. All right. Now connectivity projects are there. For example, BBIN, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal corridor is there. One TAPI project is also there. All right. One IMEC corridor is also there. India Middle East corridor. Okay. So now India and its neighbors. All right. So basically we will be studying about the neighbor Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan. So this boundary is there. Okay. We share a border with Afghanistan also. But the problem here is that this particular area where we share the border with Afghanistan, that particular area is in the control of Pakistan. that is in POK. All right. So that is the main reason why our access to this Central Asia and West Asia is very much blocked. All right. So, but still, this is basically our neighbor only. All right. Here Maldives, here Sri Lanka. Okay. So this is basically the part of Indian subcontinent, and all these countries in the Indian subcontinent are part of our neighborhood. All right. And we will be studying them. All right. So strategic dynamics and conflicts. So now we have so many conflicts. All right. We have conflict with China, we have conflict with Pakistan. All right. So conflict with China is basically, the major conflict is BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. What has happened is, there is a territory called as POK that is a part of India but is basically in the control of Pakistan. Pakistan has ceded away that Indian territory to China, and China from this territory is building a BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, from a place called as Karakoram, Trans Karakoram Highway. All right. That the territory where China is building that project is in India only, because that is a part of India. But because China and Pakistan are constructing that, that's a very big conflict between India and China. All right. Now next is string of pearls. Okay, string of pearls is basically a theory of China by which, for example, the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka, around India, they are basically capturing various ports. Okay, and they are increasing their naval presence in the neighborhood of India to keep a check of India, on India. All right, to keep basically a look over the activities that are going on in India. And whenever there emerges a conflict, so this string of pearl will be very dangerous for India, because then India will, so at present, if there is a war between India and China, we will be fighting at two wars. All right, one front will be with China and another front will be with Pakistan. All right, but now because this string of pearl theory is there, because they are capturing various ports. All right, so we will have to basically tackle this challenge also. So that's also a very big, basically, I would say, the constant in our relation. All right. So now coming on to Galwan Valley conflict, you know this happened there in the Tri Junction between, a particular place is there, which India, Bhutan and China. So at that's a Tri Junction. All right. So here is China, here is Bhutan, and here is India. All right. So this is also a place where we stands to have a very big conflict. All right. Now, LAC is also there. So the boundary line of India with China is called as LAC. That is line of actual control. All right. But the border line with India and Pakistan is called as, mostly there are two border line with India and Pakistan. The major part that is already established, that is called as IB, international border. But the border that is not yet fixed, that lies majorly in Jammu and Kashmir. All right. So that is called as LOC, line of control. All right, a part of internal security also. There you will also study this. Now with Pakistan, we have major conflicts with regards to the Indus water sharing treaty. Okay, a water sharing treaty. All right, so that was basically signed in 1960 between India and Pakistan, and the major broker in that treaty was World Bank. All right, so during that time, this treaty was signed and is highly regarded to be very unfair between India and Pakistan, unfair for India. All right, so what we did is, we basically, now after this, कौन सा clash हुआ था, this in Kashmir Valley, which Pahalgam, this Pahalgam, after this Pahalgam terror attack, what we did is, we basically, stopped following the terms of this treaty. All right. Now, one Kartarpur Sahib corridor is also basically a area of conflict, I would say, but exactly not conflict at present, because there is a place of Sikh worship that is there inside Pakistan. Okay, so there the people of India worship that place. So we have made a corridor where, without even that visa, the Indian pilgrimage, those people can visit there. But the time any kind of conflict comes, Pakistan has one thing: they stop the Indian pilgrims to visit that place. All right, so that's also a kind of, I would say, a positive thing also, a negative thing also. Okay, now the CPEC, China Pakistan Economic Corridor, I just told you now that BRI initiative, this CPEC is being made under BRI initiative only. The China and Pakistan is constructing so many projects in Indian territory, okay, which is an integral part of India. All right. So with regional partners also, we have certain things. Nepal calls India big, like they basically put allegation over India that India always treat like big brother. Okay, India always, they what they do is they play a game. Like what happens in our home also, what happens, the little brother, what the little sister or brother, what they will do, they will basically always poke. Okay, even if you will give them everything, even if you will give them your pie, piece of your pie, still they will basically poke to give more concession so that they can get more, something more. Okay, so Nepal do that thing only. Okay, so with Nepal relations, and now yes, Tamil issue is there with Sri Lanka. You might have heard this about this in your class 10th NCRT. Okay, so one Tamil issue is there. Maldives and Afghanistan, these are two separate states which we have to deal with. All right. Now some key concept is there. Now debt trap diplomacy, which China basically do. Okay. So what China do is China first give a huge debt to the states. All right. For example, Pakistan. Now when that state comes into a position where they cannot repay that debt, now they start controlling that particular state. Okay, that's called as debt trap diplomacy. China plus one strategy. Now this we will be studying in China. What is there with China is China has two major basically states. That is, one is Hong Kong, another one is Taiwan. All right. Now what they have done is they have basically controlled those two states, but always there are certain democratic movements that goes on in those states. All right, so there is always a fight with regards to that particular thing. All right, now one more thing, one China policy. All right, this is also a part of that only. The Taiwan and Hong Kong say whenever you will see a product that is basically made in Hong Kong, it's not written made in China, it's written made in Hong Kong. Okay, because they claim, the Hong Kong claim it to be a separate state from China, but China always basically tries to maintain the sovereignty of China over Hong Kong and Taiwan. All right, that also thing we will be studying. All right, so now I just told you there are three levels of study of IR for our perspective, which is first will be the major relation, India with major powers. All right, so major power is US, Russia and France. All right, West Asia, which is a part of our extended neighborhood. That West Asia is basically, so major hotly discussed thing is basically the Israel-Palestine conflict that is there going on, and UAE and Saudi Arabia issue. Okay, so this basically our partnership, our energy and diaspora, two things are majorly playing a very big role in West Asia. The first thing is the energy diplomacy. What is energy diplomacy? We are majorly dependent upon West Asia for fulfilling our energy security. Okay, now another thing is lot of people from Kerala, from other parts, from Gujarat, from many other parts of our country are basically living in those states like Qatar, Saudi. Okay, so that is called as diaspora diplomacy. All right, now we have to see Indo-Pacific region also. Here two major states, okay, Japan and Australia. All right, so and one more thing is basically global south. Global south, what is global south? Those states which are developing, all right, like South Africa, okay, African states, all right, South America, Brazil. Okay, we will be moreover looking at these relations. All right, so this is what is written here. All right, any problem? No problem. Okay. How no problem? Any confusion? Anything coming in the mind? Why so? Not able to understand? ये तो कुछ है नहीं है ना, basics है ना, just studying, like that's just understanding what we have to study only है ना. In the coming 40 to 45 hours, what we have to deal with. All right, we are just having a look because see, UPSC is a place where you don't have to basically think of what to study, but you first have to think of where to stop studying. That's a fact, because just go to the market and just ask them to give a material on IR. You will get bundles of material. At least they will be able to give you 10 to 12 notes or books. All right. But see, the thing is, basically, before being the collector, you don't have to be the collector of books. Don't be the collector of books. Just be the real collector. For being real collector, stop being the collector of books. All right. Collecting books is my task. If I will not collect books, then I will not be able to provide you the updated and latest material from every source. But your task is not to collect books. All right. So now regional and global grouping. All right. So there are several groupings. All right. So America, US, Japan, and Australia. This is Quad grouping. SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. G20, G7, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. All right. Now ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. All right. Now BIMSTEC, Bangladesh, India, Myanmar. Okay. Then technical and economic cooperation model. All right. So now energy alliances, ISA, France and India. Okay. That made International Solar Alliance. Now global biofuel alliance is also there. All right. Now export control regime, one is MTCR, then is Australia Group, Wasner Agreement, and the pursuit of energy. Okay, nuclear suppliers group. All right. Are you able to see this because of this podium? No, no. I should see now. The United Nations, a very important thing. Okay, and I can tell you, like when I will teach you this UN and its main organs. All right. So after that, no need to study more other than this for your pre also. For for this United Nation topic, whatever I will note, the I provide basically handout for this. All right. So there is many things to basically write. So I don't make the students write this. Okay, I'll give you handouts for this topic. All right. For those handouts will be sufficient. No single thing apart from those handouts are required for studying UN. Okay, for your even pre-examination. That's fine. All right. So in UN there are principal organs and specialized agencies, reform group, WTO, and financing of these. Okay. So this we will have to deal with. All right. Now, geopolitics in the Indian diaspora, I just told you, diaspora politics also goes on there. Okay, and a very important thing for basically our study. All right, so maritime strategy, IORA, South China Sea issues, soft power, these things we will be seeing. This is a small part, okay, not a very big part. So, diaspora politics, okay. Now, evolution, okay. So, let us now start this particular topic, that is evolution. No, before evolution many more things are yet to be done. Okay, just give me a second. I think this slide is, yeah, this is the correct one only. Yes, so see, let's start the lecture. Okay, so what is foreign policy? Okay, see, 60% will be the class dictation, 40% will be the handouts. All right. Before understanding, or basically sometime after writing, don't go outside the class before clearing the concept in your mind. Okay, you can, even if there is something you cannot basically understand here, after the class I have 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, because after that I only have the class, so during that time you can ask me anything. All right. Test will be there on every week. Okay, just not just for this week. Okay, but for every week test will be there. See, there is no perfect answer. Okay, no perfect answer exists. What? Just write. At least start writing. Okay, just start writing whatever you know, whatever you think is correct. Just start writing. All right. So see, India is basically a very strategically located place. Why I am saying this? See, what happens is India is located at a place which basically this peninsular part. This is a place which is basically like a cone inside the Indian Ocean. All right, it's like a cone. So what happens? Any anyone, any country, any person, anyone if comes from here has to basically go to any of this part. For them, India is a destination. Okay, India has a destination. India has always been a place where intermingling of various communities has always happened. All right. From this part, various invasions has happened. Okay, Muhammad Ghori, okay, Babar. So these people came from this part only. and basically this, the lower portion, that is basically a destination for the ship from throughout the world. All right, due to which what has happened, a unique identity of our country is shaped. All right, so, and it is not very new for our country to understand how to maintain foreign policy, because at that time also, when there were multiple small empires, multiple small dynasties, they were also basically maintaining their foreign policy. All right, we can see several examples of the embassies, ambassadors being sent by our rulers to various parts of the country, to China, to Sri Lanka, okay, either to spread Buddhism or to basically do any other thing. All right, so it is never new for India on how to develop our foreign policy. It is very old, okay, for India it's a ancient thing, okay. We have, see, just think of a document which was written 2500 years back, and that also basically deals with how to deal with the foreign states also, okay. So what is foreign policy? In a simple way, if I tell you what a foreign policy is, so simply foreign policy is set of those values, those ideals, or those strategies how we deal with the foreign states, as simple as that. Now foreign policy includes so many things, okay. So foreign policy includes so many things. What all things it includes? It basically includes some strategies how to maintain those relations, okay. Our consideration, what is our consideration? I told you national interest must be our consideration. So it's a mix of these things, okay. Just put a question, write one question. What is the meaning of foreign policy? होता क्या है फॉरेन पॉलिसी? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ फॉरेन पॉलिसी? Okay, so right, in this way, that foreign policy simply means, right, foreign policy simply means how a country deals with the outside world. Deals with the outside world. Okay, how we basically deal with the outside world. All right, now the thing is, just like the way, just understand in this way, like the way we have some set of values, we have individual have some set of basically our interest. You have different interest, I have different interest, you have different interest. The same way a country has some ideology. What is it? It is basically called as national ideology. All right, now we have families, we have basically friends, even sometimes we have enemies. The same way country, I'm spelling it wrong basically. This is also I want to tell you. See, country is geographic and state is basically the right word. Okay, what is state? What is the meaning of state? According to Montevideo Declaration that signed at international level, a state has four elements: people that live in that particular state, yes, government, sovereignty to basically take independent decisions, government, people, sovereignty, and where they will live, territory, right? So whatsoever particular entity will be having these four things will be called as state. All right, so just the way we have friends, basically enemies, the same way a state has allies, right? A state has allies, a state has neighbor, even a state has rivals, right? So this happens. Now the way, so this is basically a way how a state interact with the other state, okay. Now write one more thing. What is national interest? Now national interest क्या होता है? What is national interest? For the first point that you wrote, na, for the first point, just put a heading and just write here basic idea. So that was just a basic idea. Okay, so that here, right, basic idea. Please improve your writing. Please improve, because see, the same thing also happens when the examiner will check it. Now they don't expect a good writing, but they expect a legible writing. Okay, how are you people working on writing? This is also not very. Yeah, three of you are not doing good for writing. Please improve it. Please improve it, because the writing should be legible. At least people, the examiner must be able to understand what you are writing. Right? They must see. They don't have to become IAS, IPS, right? You have to become IAS, IPS. Why will they put effort on your paper? They have many papers to check, no? Why will they put effort? See, we have to make their work easy, no? They have multiple copies. The copy that they will think is basically easier to understand, good to see, and basically appealing to check. They will give good marks to that copy only, right? So just make your writing legible, better, appealing. All right. So now that was a basic idea. Now what I told, what was the question? National interest. Okay. So national interest are basically the core priorities of a country. All right. So just write, at the core of every foreign policy, yeah, at the core of the foreign policy of every state, which means what a state want to achieve for its survival and development. Make this. Security, prosperity, and status. Now, right, the following are the key components of national interest. The following are the key components of national interest. Okay. Now just think of it like this. Now, what should be the national interest of any country, of any state? Okay, what should be its national interest? The first national interest must be the security of a country. The foremost, mind this thing, the foremost and the foremost important consideration for any country is basically to maintain its security. Israel conducted preemptive strikes on Iran because Israel, using its axis of resistance, that is Hezbollah, Houthis, and groups like this, IS, Islamic State, okay, by using these groups, it was posing a security threat on Israel. And vice versa, Israel retaliated to it because Iran attacked on its security. The time a country will feel that anything and everything whatsoever is a risk to its security, they will never stop basically proceeding that. Okay, they will always try to stop that by whatever means they can. So the foremost national interest. Now, if you will ask me whether this thing is right for us to do, whether this thing is right for not right for us to do, I will just simply answer you. See these three things. Whether the particular action of any country is suiting these three particular things, is for the better of these particular three things, then the country must do that. Otherwise, no need to do that. Okay. See, you can have values, but your value can just basically uplift you. But a country having permanent value will never survive. because national interests are always changing, because our threats are changing. Earlier there was no cyber security threat. Now there are cyber security threat. Earlier there was no basically that what to say, ये आपका बहुत proxy wars was not there earlier. Okay, now proxy wars are happening. I will tell you what proxy war is. When you directly don't go to war but raise a group that fight, like Pakistan do in Kashmir. They don't have that guts to come across the border, but they basically send others to come. Okay, because these are rising, our security policy is changing. So write the first dimension, that is security. And in security, write like this. Okay, military strength. Yeah, so written this. Okay, so how will a state particularly ensure its national security? By means of basically increasing the security, by increasing its military strength, by basically not tolerating any instability. Because if there will be any kind of instability, now please don't understand this in a way that I am asking the government to be, how can I ask, but I am suggesting that there should be no protest. No, protest is not instability. Protest is not a law order problem. Protest is a expression of the aspirations of people. See, you have some grievances from the government, you have some particular problem. Now the protest is its expression of what people aspire, of what people is basically suffering. That's not a threat to the instability. Instability doesn't mean this. Instability will never come from these protests. Okay, the major unstable thing that basically was happening in Iran just before this preemptive strike, the people, because Islamic revolution came in 1979. After that it became an Islamic republic. Before that it had Western influence. Now the people were protesting, they were destabilizing the government, that the promises that you did to us, so those promises are not fulfilled yet. That was instability. Okay, so over trying to overthrow the governmental authority, that's instability, and that's a threat to India's national security, and that is basically a component of our national interest. Okay, so protection from external threat. So a state that basically do all these things is called as night watchman state. The police action, the police state, you can write in background bracket, night watchman state, police state. Okay, that's a major function of any country or state. All right, now the second component, just write the second component, that is prosperity. Now how a country will prosper? by basically increasing investments. So now you will say, how national interest? Don't you think many leaders go abroad and basically carry out sign very various memorandum of understanding, memorandum of agreement, memorandum of association? They we basically invite several countries to come to India to do investment, because what will happen by those investments? Prosperity will come to India, and doing prosperity is also our national interest. We will do whatever increases the development of the country. All right. So write the first thing, that is trade and investment. Write an example, that is FDI. Economic growth. Poverty reduction. Now third component is status. Now what kind of status? India will do everything to protect its sovereign status. What are we? We are a sovereign country. We are an independent country. That's our status. Where is our status written? It's written in the preamble. What is status of India? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. That's the status of India. What is our name? What is the name of our country? Official name? That's the Republic of India. The Republic is the status of India. What's our next name? That's Bharat, but the Republic of Bharat, let's say. Okay, that's our status, and we will do, it's a component of our national interest, and we will do whatever protects our national interest, including the maintenance of our status. Right, so just write in status, right? The first thing, write in status this way only. Position in global politics. The first thing is position in global politics. Position in global politics. Okay. Now next is membership of important institutions like UNSC. We want a permanent seat in UNSC. That's the issue. We will study in UN. All right. Now, right, one thing also, we also, so see, every state has a right of basically what we call it, reputation. We have the right to basically get reputation. Okay, and we will do whatever, basically we will counter every threat that is a threat to our international reputation. All right, so write the third thing, international reputation. And write this thing, national interest is never fixed. It changes with time, comma, leadership, and global politics. And global politics. It always changes. It's never fixed. What was our national interest during the time when we just became independent, that was very different. How it was different? At that time, we were not even having the grains to eat. We signed agreement with the Western countries to import us grains. At that time, our national interest was basically very different. What we have today. Okay. Now, after basically understanding what national interest is, now again, right, then what is the meaning of foreign policy? That was just a basic idea. Now see, this is my style to first mention a simple question. What happened na? When you read this na, when you read the notes, you will just feel like we are in the class, kind of, है ना? Because anyhow, if I will start making you write intro, main body, no simple question will be asked. So questions in the mains will be very, I would say, kuma firaki. It's very like first major thing is to tackle the meaning of the question itself. Okay, so in that these type of notes will actually help you. All right. So now, right, then what is the meaning of foreign policy? Now see, foreign policy has, see, foreign policy has two dimensions. So first is, it is, I will make you write. You should make this. If you want, you can make this. Okay. See, first thing is, it is basically a statement where the policy writes what the state wants, what we want. As a country, what we want national interest, but whatever national interest is, we basically, that is our national policy. The another thing is how to achieve that. What should be our strategy to achieve that? That's the second dimension of a foreign policy. Okay, so just write, then I will make you write one definition that is given by a scholar, all right, academician. So first just write this thing: a foreign policy of any state, yeah, write country also, because this is a geographical expression only, of any country, it has two dimensions, has two dimensions, has two dimensions. Write the first: statement of goals. Okay, now here, right, it expresses what a country wants to achieve in terms of its national interest. In what a country wants to achieve in terms of its national interest. Bracket में write security, growth, influence. See, for India, like every for maximum of the states, when they just write first write in terms of their national interest. Harshika, any problem? No, don't write, don't chat, unmute and speak. अब बोलेंगे कि माइक नहीं काम कर रहा है। बी वोकल, ठीक है। What happens when you speak na? You people live in PG. See, messages are below. Just repeat the last line, sir. My mic is working, sir. Okay. I'm not blaming your mic. Then I'm blaming you. You are not speaking using your mic. All right. So, what was the last line? It expresses what a country wants to achieve in terms of its national interest. For example, influence, growth, security, status, etc. Okay, so it basically expresses that thing. All right, isn't it? The another thing that basically this foreign policy deals with is basically strategy. So write that second point, that is strategy or the blueprint. In this dimension, the foreign policy of a state highlights the strategy on how, in this dimension, the foreign policy of a state highlights on how they are going to achieve those goals and objectives of their national interest. Any problem? Clear? All clear? All right. So now write one definition. According to J. Bandhopadhyay. According to J. Bandhopadhyay, foreign policy is about choosing goals. Bracket may write ends, means what they want to achieve. Is about choosing the goals and methods in bracket write means in international relations. In international relations. Got the point? So what happens is now, by writing some definitions of some scholars or basically that, though I will also suggest, see what you have to do is when I will basically complete this portion, the day I will, for example, I'm dealing with India Pakistan relations, okay, the day I will complete that particular portion, no, okay, on till that day current affair will be there in your notes only, all right. But what you have to do is, after basically completing that portion here, make folders, make separate folder. Those 5 rupees folder or 10 rupees folder are there where the this particular stick goes in, where you can add on pages, all right. Just you do what you have to do is just make separate folders. For example, one major power, one Pakistan, one basically, what's your optional? Okay, okay, all right. And yours? UPPCS. Okay, and you? Zoology. अरे वाह, अच्छा. So yeah, so it will help you, okay, in your option if you go for PSIR. What is there is, now you have separate folders. Now you are reading The Hindu or Indian Express, whatsoever news or any other newspaper whatsoever be. Now you got something very interesting. Now the Israel conflict is going on in Iran Israel. Now you're getting something relevant. You are like getting some view, some idea that you think is relevant for your exam. Now you can add, particular in that folder. That will be the updated version of your notes. All right. So this way you have to do. Okay. Now coming on to this, simple is this. So nature is basically, I just told you. So dynamic. Okay. So the nature of national interest or foreign policy is dynamic in nature. It is interdependent on various variables. Okay. It is interdependent on so many indicators, and also it is strategic. Okay. Now what our foreign policy is there with Pakistan will never be with basically Afghanistan, or basically will never be with Sri Lanka. Okay. So foreign policy is very different from with various states. All right. So now coming on to one innovative thing that I have basically searched for is, right, one SPS formula. Using this, you can basically remember this SPS formula. Okay, so SPS means first is security, another one P means prosperity, and S means status. Okay, so just remember this SPS formula whenever writing your mains. Okay, SPS formula will be very helpful for you. All right. Yeah. So now we have a fair enough idea about what national interest is. We also know now what foreign policy is. Now we'll have to move forward to what are the determinants of foreign policy. Okay. So on the next page, put a new heading, that is determinants. Okay, determinants of foreign policy. So there are many determinants. All right. So some determinants are basically external, some are internal. All right. So foreign policy is shaped by these various determinants. All right, which determines the foreign policy of a country. This, in this way you basically understand this particular thing. Okay. So just write one or two line intro. So right, foreign policy is not made in isolation. Okay, foreign policy is not made in isolation. Okay, it is shaped by combination of, it is shaped by combination of internal factors as well as external factors, and together these factors together determines. No, don't write, don't write. What you wrote? Last thing, what was it? External factors. All right. So now, right. Sometimes what happens? It mixes up. I want to just convey, and you think it's I'm making you right. Okay. So sometimes it messed up. All right. So just write now. Right. Okay. Together, these determines both the content in the bracket. Right. What the policy is. Now bracket close, and success. In the bracket, right, how effective the policy will be. How effective the policy will be. Now put a major heading, major determinants of foreign policy. Now we will be writing major, use two pen. What's your name? What's the spelling? Simhadri. Okay, Simhadri. So you are from Andhra? Telangana. मतलब भाई भाई brother. So use two pens. All right, one black, one blue. For heading, use the black because that will be more appealing when you will revise the content, right? So just major determinants. Okay. So the first, right? A. Okay. Historical factors. Historical factors. See, what basically don't write abhi, ठीक है. See, what happens is throughout the history, I just told you in the introduction only. Throughout the history, we had several like people, several events that happened. Okay, since I would say the ancient time, we had certain ideologies. Okay, like Buddhism ideology, Hinduism ideology. All right, so and even the after basically the Mughals, we had some different elements in our foreign policy. Foreign policy is not just that a, a state only makes, because at that time those were the ruling empire, so those were only state. How they were dealing with some other state, those are their foreign policies. So there are several historical factors. For example, the invasions that happened in India. For example, the historical trading contacts of India with Mesopotamia, Egypt, various other countries. Okay, now coming ahead, the colonialism. Okay, the brunt of colonialism and the imperialism that India witnessed. And what the Britishers used to do, they used to profess the policy of basically buffer state. They used to basically create so several buffer states. And during that time, there was the territory was very large because Sri Lanka, Myanmar. Okay, so these that Pakistan, today's Pakistan was India only. All right, and even in Afghanistan, some certain period of time was there when Britishers had influence. In Nepal also they had some influence. All right, so Burma was there. Okay, so at that time the British Indian government was very large. Okay, decisions were taken in London for administering here the government of India, which was the British government of India. They had various other, and even after that when we became independent, after that also there were several people. For example, Jawaharlal Nehru, he had very a very distinct idea of what the foreign policy will be. Okay, so he was a person who was a founding member of non-alignment movement. All right, and basically what we generally study is that what Gandhi imagined for the world. Okay, what Gandhi had the ideology of non-imperialism, basically anti-apartheid government. All right, so basically what Jawaharlal Nehru did, so Gandhi went away, he basically died keeping that idea in mind only. And what Jawaharlal Nehru did is basically took that idea and went to the entire world and professed this ideology. Okay, he basically participated in several international conferences, in several international summits, where Bandung, Belgrade, there he basically participated and he professed for the ideology of anti-imperialism, anti-apartheid, solidarity, South solidarity. So these were the ideologies. So these all were the historical factors that today guides determines our foreign policy, right? So in the historical factors, right, it includes our past experiences, comma traditions and ideas that influences the foreign policy. That influences the foreign policy. Now, right, in India, there is an ancient tradition of peaceful coexistence tradition of peaceful coexistence, comma, the policy of non-aggression. That's very true. India has never been a first attacker on any country since the past. We never attacked any country. We never disturbed the peace and tranquility in any other state. We never ever fired a single missile for the first go. No, never. But obviously, someone will basically pinch us. We will basically give a very befitting reply to that country, but never starts anything like that. Never ever. We never sponsored terrorism. We never gave birth to any terror organization. We never supported any of the group, or any of the group that is going against any other state. Okay, we never played any basically diplomatic role that goes against the interest of any other single state. Okay, and that is the only reason the Indian ideology is basically the ideology of peaceful coexistence, okay, mutual non-aggression policy, and that is the main reason why during this present war, India is seen as the best country that can go ahead for negotiation. Why? Because we share the same kind of good relation with Israel as well as Iran. All right, we are the best friend to Israel, as well as our tankers, our LNG, PNG, LPG tankers are given a passage from the state of Hormuz, and that is the main reason behind that is basically the best relation with Iran, because we share. See the Chabahar port, see the ancient diplomacy. Ayatollah Khomeini, he had his ancestral village in a village in Lucknow district, okay, in Lucknow. So we share such kind of ties, okay. So yes, we do understand that there is basically some sort of disturbing thing that the people is basically are grieving, like for the death of Ayatollah Khomeini. So that's not a very good sign as far as my understanding is concerned, because see, now there might be instance when we might be having some conflict with Iran at that time. Also those people will support it. But see, now seeing the positive angle in this, now seeing the positive angle, I can say that just have a look how, like, what ideology Indians profess. We grieve in the death of the leader of some other state. Now the other states are not like this. US is not like this. They will never grieve in the death of any of the leader of any other state. Okay, it's only India that actually grieve. Such grievance was never witnessed in Pakistan, and Pakistan being the majority Islamic state. So such grievance was not there in Pakistan, but was there in India. In India, the people were grieving the death of the leader of other state. Okay, so such ideology is basically professed by our country. See, this is a point of divergence. I don't consider this. Why? I'm telling you this. We didn't grieve the death of Islamic leader, but we grieved the unilateral, basically, action of US. More than the death of that leader, we were grieving that how one country can basically enter inside the territory of another country. That was true because, see, US is taking so many unilateral actions, and more that basically we did not, that's ingrained in our ideology. We don't want such actions to be there. I have seen the media pictures, and basically they are showing their anger more, like they are not showing the grief, but they are showing the anger against US. We hated that policy of US. All right, now that was in their interest, might be yes, might be not, we don't know. Okay, so now coming on to the next thing here. So right, now policy of non-aggression you wrote, and the influence of the leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru. All right, now write one more thing. India prefer, okay, it's in Barabanki. I thought it's in Lucknow. Okay, Barabanki in Khamenei. Of Khamenei. Yes. Khamenei. It was Khamenei. Yeah. So write this. So the in India prefers dialogue, है ना? We prefer dialogue, okay, over conflict due to its historical roots. India prefers dialogue rather than conflicts due to our historical roots. Due to our historical roots. ठीक है? Now write the second thing, that is, you tell what can be the second determinant. Why is Kashmir so much conflicted? One more word for territory? Synonym of territory? Like, or more broader word than territory? Any other guess? Geography. Because geography includes territory as well as resources, as well as the conditions in which the people are living, as well as the climate also. So various factors. Okay. So write geography. Geography. Right. So location, obviously our location, the river, the terrains, the water, the climate, all these things affects our foreign policy. Obviously the Indus Water Treaty that was signed between India and Pakistan in 1960 was a result of the geography only. Huh? So right, location, comma, borders, comma, rivers, and natural features that affects the foreign policy. Okay. Now, right, in India, next point, in India, up, there are three things. First is Himalayas, second one is Indian Ocean, and third one is river like Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Indus. All right. See how Himalaya played a very important role between development in developing the relations between India and China. See what happened between India and China. There are Himalayas, all right, separating both of these two big powers, two big Asian powers. Until 1947, we were basically under the British rule. Britishers considered China as aggressive power because they were like like constructing their control, more control over Tibet, over Shanghai, over many other places. Okay, so China was considered as a threat to Britishers. So until the 1947 India's independence and the Chinese Revolution of 1949, we did not had any kind of relation. Okay, except the movement of Buddhism. Buddhism moved from here only to China and Tibet. Other than that, there was no as such diplomatic or that big level relation. After independence, we found it very difficult to handle it. Why? Because both of the countries did not knew how to basically carry forward our relation, how to maintain our relation. At the start, there were dialogues of Hindi Chini bye bye, but later on it culminated into war because of mutual suspicion. Right? So Himalayas also is a very big, major determinant of our foreign policy. Now next is your Indian Ocean, because Indian Ocean allows the movement of so many like ships and people and goods, okay, and we have a very big border, sorry, the coast, okay, that also impacts our foreign policy, and the rivers, okay, river water sharing and all. So right, in India, Himalayas acts as a natural security barrier, but we share Himalayas with China and Nepal. But we share Himalayas with China and Nepal. Now, write one more next point. There is Indian Ocean and India has a very long coastline in Indian Ocean, and also this ocean stands to be very strategic for trade and naval power and naval power. Right, the next, rivers like Ganga, Brahmaputra, Tista, Indus are shared with our neighbors. Now, geography is beneficial also and challenging also. Geography at the one point creates opportunity because there are several landlocked countries. They basically die for getting access to the sea for improving their trade. We have a lot of boundary, but with that comes challenges also. Mumbai terror attack, those terror groups came via ocean route only. A big example, okay. So geography creates, right? Geography creates both opportunities in the way of trade and connectivity, but on the other hand, it brings challenges as well. But on the other hand, it brings challenges as well, like like border disputes, comma, water river sharing disputes, comma, illegal immigration problem, comma, movement of illegal drugs problem. Okay, so geography is good also, but it's very challenging also. Okay, so this is another determinant of our foreign policy. Moving ahead to the next, That is, just put this heading. Okay. So this we will be doing in the next class. One thing, that's my suggestion. You are not school going kids, so that I can only suggest you. I cannot call your parents like the school teacher do. Don't miss the classes. Why I am saying that? You people are super intelligent. You people, you have that PSIR. You will take that, but the approach is very different. Okay. One more thing I would tell, when see you have access to resources, you have everything, but when you will attend the class, when you will learn in class, that will make your task of learning things at your home very easy. Trust me. Okay, so don't miss the classes ever. Okay, until and unless it's very much required. Okay, so okay, all right, welcome. Okay, Harshika, any problem? You people, any problem? Okay, all right, chalo, bye bye. Welcome, welcome.